shaking his head saying most definitely not. So Rutter would have normally been able to join his grid position, but he's not. It's empty. There it is, right between Dean Thomas and great clutch work from John Reynolds in pole position. He has really made the start there. But look at this again. It is number 6, Gary Mason. And Gary Mason has got another absolute flying start. Gary Mason, bike number 6 from the second row of the grid. Well, Rob Mack, he won't buy a round of drinks, but he'll be happy with that. Second place is John Reynolds. Third place, Dean Thomas. Just taking a look at who that is in 4th place at the moment. It's Yukio that's in 5th place. He's Ellison. I should have known better, shouldn't I? James Ellison then. Well, James Ellison again getting another great start. He's right in with it. He's in 4th place at the moment. Up the inside goes JR. JR! Oh, takes Dean Thomas up the hill, and Dean Thomas was not going to let him have that room. Dean Thomas fighting with JR early on. Well, there's an interesting start to the race as Gary Mason is going to lead. I can't remember when Gary Mason led over the line on a Superbike, but he's certainly going to do that with the distance he's got in front of this field at the moment. It's going to take him a bit longer than one lap to hunt him back down. You can see, Yuko Kagayama looks like he's up the inside of the Jensen Yamaha as JR gets it a bit wrong going. Oh, off the slip road we go as Rutter comes through on bike number 3, the HM Plant Honda.
Mondello last year would be Gary Mason's last run at the front, I would have thought.
It's been a while. Gary Mason out front, there he is, loves this racetrack. He's a real racer's racer, isn't he, the young 24-year-old. Still JR in 2nd place, still Dean Thomas in 3rd place, Yukio Kagayama in 4th place now. 5th place is James Ellison on bike 17. Then it looks like the Kawasaki of 88 Scott Smart as we come to Lodge for the first time in this 18-lap race.
And it looks like Hager's got a really good start this time. You can see him just going behind the Kawasaki there and probably about 8th place.
I would have said this was the kind of track that Hager would like, but then again, you do have to have the bike and the tyres both to work there on Pirellis as well. Where is Rutter? We're looking back for Michael Rutter. He's gone through. Michael Rutter is in front of Craig Coxall there. Down the avenue now towards Cascade. 6 is Gary Mason on his 2nd lap. JR still in 2nd place. The Sendo Ducati of Dean Thomas in 3rd. 4th place still Yukio Kagayama, 5th place still James Ellison, leading privateer, and not bad for the overall Superbike either. Scott Smart in 6th.
Kagayama having a look down the inside of Dean Thomas into Ireland, but far too fast and not quite close enough to force it past.
Michael Rutter down in 11th place on bike number 3. Well, Michael Rutter, he found himself on the grass in race 1 and had to do a whole load of work to work his way up. Likewise, you're going to have to do something similar here after starting from the absolute back of the grid.
Well, nice to see the Yamaha guys smiling once again there on the pit lane.
Yeah, I mean, this will give heart to the whole Yamaha team. They really do deserve it, there's no doubt about it. It's a good little team, they work very hard as well. Kagayama has moved up to 3rd place now. Yukio Kagayama follows in the tracks of his teammate JR. He was only prepared to do that for most of the race last time out, and then he pipped JR for the win. So, Gary Mason with JR hunting him down. Yukio Kagayama as they come to Druids. JR now right on the shoulder of Gary Mason's Virgin Mobile Yamaha. Still have them jumping up and down in the Virgin Mobile pit at the moment. Gary Mason, well, we tipped him for the top last year. Thought he would come on strong. And that is so good how he does that. I just do not know how JR... He made that look like that was a non-pass, like he wasn't going to do it, and then just drifted under him.
That's not the fastest line down the inside, but JR squeezed past. Pretty safe manoeuvre and managed to maintain his speed through Lodge.
JR leads then, as he did in race 1. Yukio Kagayama now looking to make a similar pass on Gary Mason. So 2, JR, John Reynolds. 6, Gary Mason. 71 is Yukio Kagayama. Followed by 12, the Sendo Ducati of Dean Thomas. Dean Thomas, a good 4th place at the moment for him. Looking down the order, then it's Ellison, James Ellison on bike 17. Best of the privateers by far, by about 10 places, as I look at my monitor. And remember, he's Pirelli shod. Pirelli doing a lot of development on tyres at the moment, both in World Superbike and now in the British Superbike as well. Craig Coxall on the Honda for V-Trans. Oh, Emmett is in. Oh, dear. Sean Emmett is in. Stuart Bland and Phil Borley to the right of your picture in the dark there. Chief technicians for Sean Emmett. Monster Mob are struggling. Here comes Kagayama up the inside of Gary Mason. Well, that was a nicely timed move as well. These Suzukis, they are inspiring such confidence from their 2 men. They really do seem to be so confident whatever they do on them.
They're working really well. A lot doing a similar job.
134.7 miles an hour for Reynolds up and over Clay Hill, and that'll give you some idea of just how quick they are going. They roll on up to about 140 mile an hour. They're up to 135 at this point, back to second gear, and something like 58, 60 mile an hour now. Out of Dearly, up to fifth gear, 140 mile an hour over the line. Back down to third gear, nearly 90 mile an hour through this corner at Old Hall. Up to 130 mile an hour as they drop down Cascades. Reynolds, 137.965 on lap 3. No real surprises there, then, are there? We are only on lap 4 of the 18. Well, this really has been the Rizzler Suzuki show.
I'm impressed John Reynolds took the risk of changing the rear tyre, but he obviously wanted to have the exactly same setup as his teammate Kageyama, who beat him in the first race. But pretty big risk for JR, because his setup in race 1 was pretty good.
Pretty good, but when you need a harder one on, go for the hard one.
And I heard from Michael's team that he actually went the other way with the tyre, so it is surprising. Michael actually went softer, and John's gone harder.
Michael Rutter starting from the back of the grid, having done his warm-up lap from pit lane. That's what the rule says he's got to do. He won't be happy to be there. Where's he up to so far? He's up to 7th place after what? 4 laps. How good is that?
That's pretty impressive, but he's got his work cut out to catch the good 2 guys in the front on the Rizzler Suzukis. Reynolds on the last lap set the fastest lap. I wouldn't be surprised if Kageyama pips that this lap.
Well, Rutter is quite a way off their pace at the front anyway, so despite the fact he's making progress, he's got traffic to get through, and no clean air in front of him. This is Gary Mason in 3rd place, being pressurised by Dean Thomas in 4th place on bike number 12. And it's so early in this race yet. Look at these two, just poetry in motion. Paul Denning, another grey hair
fastest
coming your
lap
way.
to Kageyama.
So Kageyama edges out John Reynolds, who had the fastest lap last time round. I feel they're just going to match each other. 137.395, 136.6 on qualifiers with John Reynolds' pole time.
Kageyama looks even stronger this race than they did in race 1, but like he said, he was watching JR, watching where he was fast on the track, watching where he was stronger than he was, and he's put that to good use in race 2.
That is a lap record, by the way, for Yukio Kageyama. They've been blasting the lap record times here, both in the first race and this one. They're both well underneath the lap record as it stands at the moment.
And it's a very fast pace. So yesterday they were trying really, really hard on soft tyres to get under that record, and you know, we're only on the 4th lap on race tyres, and they said they've gone a little bit harder. So there's probably more yet to come.
Still it is, Reynolds and Kageyama, 1st and 2nd. Gary Mason hanging on there on bike number 6, the Virgin Mobile Yamaha, the new R1, finally coming to some race-winning type performance. It's just the same Steve Plater, who I remind you, if you've been looking for Steve Plater number 4, if you've just joined us, where have you been? He got a broken wrist yesterday, having a big accident at the Island Corner here, and his wrist has been plated up. And we've been speaking to him here. He's been in the commentary position, but he's out spectating now. So Steve Plater will take no further part in this British Championship for some considerable time while his wrist heals. We're looking at Michael Rutter, who's starting from the back row of the grid. I remind you, he's already passed James Ellison, who got such a fast start. He was there in 4th place at one point on the Gentin Yamaha. But it is Rutter up into 6th place. 5th place he's on now. 5th place for Rutter, so he's gone up from 7th to 5th in 1 lap.
Well, you know, it's not impossible to win from the back row of the grid here, because Neil Hodgson in 2000 had to start from the rear. Back of the grid, came through all the way with some stiff competition that year.
You read my mind. You read my mind. That was a great race indeed. And that was. Thank you for reminding us of it. I'm jealous. Reynolds, Haga, 1st and 2nd. Almost a demonstration ride for Rizzler Suzuki from them. Even when I was driving here, Vernon Kay yesterday on Radio 1 was talking about this team and this race meeting. So. It really is a countrywide recognition of what the Suzuki boys have achieved this year so far.
John Reynolds, number 2 there, he said he didn't really know who was right behind him. He suspected it was Yukio, but he'll know who it is this race.
Yeah. Well, we were talking earlier again about Paul Denning. Where is there to go when you've got both of your boys 1st and 2nd in every race now? It's going to be a difficult situation to see how they're going to develop these Suzukis further. They had a year at it last year. They got them to perform brilliantly last year, but this year, really, the year of the 4-cylinder is back, I feel.
It certainly is. I had a similar season with Steve Istock when I was teammates with him. A few battles here at Oulton Park and a lot of other racetracks, and it makes you dig even deeper, really. You certainly don't give any extra space because it's your teammate.
You didn't give any space, Mackenzie. I remember it particularly at that corner.
Well, it ended in tears here, also ended in tears at Snetterton one weekend, and team manager wasn't happy. Didn't speak to me for a week.
There's a team manager that won't be speaking to either of them for a week if they both punt themselves off, but that's Paul Denning's choice. He really can't make any other decision. It's clear, really. These boys are both very competitive. We have another 16 races to go after this one, and that's a long way in the championship. John Reynolds may lead the series. Yukio's, well, he's a few points adrift, but not that far adrift. Certainly not, it would seem, to be giving any orders to.
Well, a dream come true, and everything come true that Paul Denning's worked for, but also it's turned into a bit of a trauma with these two guys at the front.
Rutter now fourth, up in front of Mason and Smart. Michael Rutter from the back row of the grid has come through to fourth place. Now he's got to work upon Dean Thomas, and that's not far away from him. Dean Thomas is what? Well, not very far in front of Rutter. In fact, he's not hardly at all in front of Rutter. There is Michael Rutter, there is Dean Thomas over the hill first. Rutter, I suspect, won't wait too long to grab that third place. Dean Thomas on the Sendo Ducati under a lot of pressure now from Michael Rutter. He's a great rider, Michael Rutter. He's having a ride harder this year, I think, than he ever has, purely and simply through, well, things really beyond his control. The clutch just doesn't seem to have got him launched very well in the early rounds, and here, well, I'm yet to find out exactly what's gone on. I can't wait until Jonathan actually digs deep and finds out down in pit lane why Rutter is starting from the back of the grid. This is the third place battle. Up the inside then, it's got to come from Rutter, hasn't it, Lodge? He looks the same as John Reynolds. That's exactly how John Reynolds makes it look easy as well. Dearly, third place then from Michael Rutter. We talked about damage limitation in race one for Honda, and well, it only works if you've got a guy that's prepared to dig in and get stuck in, and Michael Rutter certainly has. And third place, 16 points, is not as bad as it could be, or not as good as it could be, Aaron, if we look at it that way as well.
True, and he's only 4.5 seconds behind, but I actually don't think he's got the speed to close that gap. But not too bad, starting from the back of the grid, and only 8 laps gone, he's 4 seconds behind.
Well, these guys are running in the 37s, Rutter and the rest are running in the 38s, and I think that says it all, really. There is the Suzuki's. John Reynolds looks superbly good in qualifying, banged in that wonderful pole position in the closing stages of the qualifying. And Yukio Kagayama a little bit disappointed perhaps that he didn't get the run he wanted to in qualifying, but certainly hasn't disappointed in the race. He's been at least John Reynolds equal, and pretty much he's better as far as race one goes.
Well, I think Kagayama's playing this a little bit differently. I think in race one he would have gone past John Reynolds at any given time, but he's just sitting there. He knows he's putting pressure on him, and he knows he's comfortable, and he's just letting JR do the work in front. And see JR
feet off the footrest there.
He had a wobble there. His foot was off the left peg, so he's pushing hard.
It's all right, I've collected my £1, my Scottish pound that you gave me for my prediction that Yukio would win race one. Well, Jonathan has actually come up to the commentary position here. We've lost him in pit lane, but he's come up to the commentary position here to tell us that Michael Rutter voluntarily pulled in pit lane with what he thought was an electrical fault on the warm-up lap. So he came in and took out his spare. He's on his spare motorcycle out there that he started from the back of the grid. Thank you very much, Mr. Green, for bringing that up.
And he's just done a 37.6, which is faster than he went in the first race. So not too bad on the spare bike, I suppose.
Well, we have the Think British Superbike Rider of the Day, Neil Mackenzie's Rider of the Day, to decide later in this race. You ain't going to get much time. We're obviously coming off air a fraction later than we normally do, so we'll have lots of time to round up your Rider of the Day. But I urge you to think of it now.
I'm thinking, and it's becoming pretty evident, but I'm saying nothing.
As usual.
Just as he gives a big slide.
Yukio Kagayama's looking good to me. Reynolds leads. Kagayama looking to make it a double here if he can. Certainly a double-double for Suzuki would be fine, but a double for Kagayama would be even better. I'll tell you what, he was running in hot there. I thought he was running into the rear end of JR. Now, JR, he doesn't get rattled, does he? He's a very calm, cool, collected man. He's 38 years old. He's got the experience. He's certainly got the speed. Neil, you work with him quite often in and around the Suzuki camp, in and around their test days and like. Does he ever get rattled in this type situation?
No, not under pressure, no. I mean, he gets mad, but he just gets more determined. But he keeps his cool, he keeps his focus together. I know, knowing him, that after race 1, although he put on a good face on the Russell, he'd be absolutely fuming that he got beat. Not because it was Yuki, just because he led for the biggest part of the race and it was taken away from him on the final lap. And he'll make changes, he'll dig deep for race 2, but he's got a fight on his hands with Yuki.
Aaron, you've been watching now for a couple of races here at Oulton Park, although you're not too experienced as far as bikes are concerned around here, but, you know, reading into it, the experience you have on motorcycles, what do you see between these two? Where do you see the strengths and weaknesses, if there are any, between them? And what can we expect, in your view, from these two?
Well, I think coming is the strength of the team. The strength of the team, you know, it's been around for a while, and the bike has developed, and nothing beats race miles. And these guys have done so many race miles on these bikes, and they're just performing really, really well. And you can see the strength of Yukio in that first race. I think he was hanging on to the back of Reynolds in that race. With this race, he looks like he's in more control. He can do what he wants. He can poke either side of John and have a look. But the first race, I really think he was hanging on for dear life, and then in that last lap, he had the confidence to go through.
Well, as if we needed a cat throwing amongst the pigeons, just take a look at Michael Rudder's time. He was faster than any of the two guys out front. He is 3 seconds just over adrift of Kagayama and Reynolds. So just over 3 seconds. We're on lap 10 and he's stuck it up. Look, there's the distance. You can see the distance now. Rutter can do this. He's on Michelin's. The Honda is obviously working for him. It's his spare bike. He started from the back row of the grid. You heard Neil Mackenzie give us the example that one Neil Hodgson had to do this from some time ago when he stalled the motorcycle on the grid, and the rules were you had to start from the back if you'd stalled it. So when they brought them round again to line up, Hodgson had to start from the back row of the grid, which he duly won from. Wouldn't it be some race if Rutter was able to even get in contention with these two, let alone beat them?
Well, Kagayama, I said, is sitting comfortably there behind and maybe waiting until the latter stages of the race to pull a pass on his teammate,
Look at the
John
time.
Reynolds. But he'll be seeing his pitboard and he'll be seeing that Michael Rutter's getting closer, so I would expect to see
37.2.
And the two guys in front probably weren't thinking Michael would be in this race at all, so they might have been sort of thinking of a cagey race and just psych at each other, but all the time Michael was actually closing on them.
This is going to get busy towards the end of this race. Michael Rutter is charging. So Michael Rutter from the Black Country is charging here. Wife Sandrine is here as well. So Reynolds and Kagayama are well and truly in the lead. It's down to 3 seconds exactly now. He's taken 0.3 of a second out of Reynolds and Kagayama on that last lap. There's Rutter coming into Falston chicane now. Michael Rutter on the HM Plant Honda. This would be a superb ride for him. Two men on World Championship form is John Reynolds and Yukio Kagayama. Oh, that's a disaster. Tommy Hill, well, he was down in 10th place, but getting used to that bike round here at Oulton Park, and the youngster finds himself out. So 19-year-old Tommy Hill, the graduate from the R6 Cup, goes out today, but all eyes are on the front. Can Michael Rutter do it? Another fastest lap last time round. Fastest lap of the race. New lap record, 1:37.272. Reynolds.
Scott Smart making some progress here. He's right up on the back of Dean Thomas now, so he's coming through the field on his ZX-10 Kawasaki.
James Ellison, the leading privateer for the Superbike Cup, in 7th place overall, in front of Haslam, Richards, Hill, Hager and Coxall.
And there's another 3/10 there. Rutter's just taken another 3/10 out of the front guys.
Oh, 2.7 now the distance between Rutter and Kagayama. That's Neil Tuxworth, coordinator, of course, for the British arm of Honda here. Tadayuki Okada, the overseeing Japanese race director, is here as well. And they will be looking at the man in 3rd place, 2.9 seconds off the leader, John Reynolds. There it says it on our strap. Dean Thomas in 4th, Scott Smart in 5th, Gary Mason slipping to 6th. That's another good ride for the Hawk Kawasaki of Smart. James Ellison, the leading Superbike Cup rider, in 7th place overall, but leading the Superbike Cup. 25 points will go to him, which will establish him well and truly as the man to beat in the privateers section of Superbike racing. This is round 4 of the Think British Superbike Championship, and this is the Rizla Suzuki team at their very best. They've taken 1st and 2nd in race 1. The roles are reversed at this point in race 2, but closing all the time, the HM Plant Honda of Michael Rutter, who started from the back row of the grid after mounting his spare bike at the end of the warm-up lap. Where's Rutter? There he is, out of Druids now. What's it going to be? We come down to Lodge. Will these two have upped the pace? Will Rutter have gone off the boil slightly? We'll only find when it trips the telemetry as they come to the line now. Over the line go Reynolds and Kagayama. Just 0.2 of a second in it for them. Oh, it's up to 3 seconds again now. It's gone up by 0.2 of a second. So Rutter has lost time on that last lap. Well, we can only ask whether the Michelin tyres are just going off with the extra work that Rutter's having to put through.
Got a rider down there.
That will put a pace car out, I feel, and if it does, that will give Rutter the opportunity to close right up on the leading two.
Looks like Sam Cork, was it? Could be wrong.
It did look a bit like Sam Cork. The thing is, with a 2.6 mile circuit of this racetrack, is that they do have a chance to clean the track up without having to bring the pace car out.
Sam Cork, number 15.
So Sam Cork, one of the leading privateers. Where was Sam Cork lying at the time? He was in 14th place and 3rd privateer, so he's lost some valuable points there. Not that he'll be worrying about them at this particular point.
It was that section of the track, folks, the chicane, he went down. You can see the yellow flag out, but at the moment, no safety car.
Oh, I tell you what, Yukio bounces that thing into his lops, doesn't he?
He wants this one as well.
He does. But JR, I've got to say, the rear end of JR's motorcycle looks like it's stuck to the floor a little bit better as far as... well, they're going to clear that incident OK. No pace car's going to come out there, that's for sure. So, these two get the opportunity to keep their lead. If the pace car had come out, Rutter would have been right with them at the end, and that would have been interesting. Because not only would Yukio be able to be trying to force the issue as far as John Reynolds is concerned, Rutter would be 2. 2 is John Reynolds, 71 is Yukio Kagayama.
I wonder if JR will have a different strategy in the closing stages of this race to race 1.
White line up the inside everywhere last lap. I think it's the Jim Moody tactic, isn't it? It's just hover over the white line, make sure no one can squeeze up the inside.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. If I was John, I'd just let Yukio have a turn at the front and just suss him out, because you know he's led both races and been dudded on the last corner. So just let Yukio have a go. But he's obviously feels comfortable at the front and thinks he can win it from there.
Well, he might have thought that in the first race as well, but I have to say the rear end of John Reynolds' motorcycle definitely looked a bit more loose in race 1, so the change of tyre to a similar tyre that Yukio's running at the back, Dunlop have given him what he needs, and you know, it'll be interesting to see if it starts spinning up Clay Hill again like we saw in the closing stages last time. That was where the giveaway was, when he was asking for full power coming out of his chicane.
Dennis Hobbs out of the race, number 25, leading privateer. Yeah,
another privateer in big trouble. He was 4th in the privateers race here as well. Remember, as I've said before, this is a race within a race. The Superbike Cup is the privateers part of the race. They are going for their own set of points. And at the moment, it's James Allison, 8th overall, but well and truly leading the privateers battle, and he is really going to be establishing a big lead at the front of the privateers Cup. Over Clay Hill, John Reynolds looking smoother than he did in race 1 at that particular point of the racetrack. We're on lap 14, just a couple of corners left to go of lap 14.
And I would say that's the
Dennis Hobbs.
Challenge there from Rutter. I think he's just looking to pace now to the back of the 38, so I don't think he's going to challenge for any of the top spots.
I think maybe he will have used up what was left of his Michelin tyre. He's down to 3.9 seconds back to 3rd place now from Kagayama, so that's a big difference. As much as he was making gains, he's now losing it. So look at Yukio. Are you slightly nervous of what's happening here, Neil? I mean, you work closely with them, and
not from a safety point of view, no. I know how much Yuki wants to win and how much he wants to win this championship, and he knows he's got to make points up. He had a steady start to the season due to his injuries from Cadwell Park last year, and he's desperate to grab these points back, and he can grab another 5 points back in JR if he can finish in front of him. I feel more for Paul Denning. I know exactly what he's going through, and the last thing he wants is some argy-bargy at the front here, but the guys are professional riders, very clean, but Yuki wants it bad.
Aaron, when was the last time you had a teammate that you liked and you had this kind of aggravation with?
You always liked them at the start of the year.
Yeah, that might change. I get your point. As Yukio almost trips. Oh, I tell you what, I'm sure I saw smoke between the front wheel then of Yukio and the rear wheel of Michael Rutter.
On the last lap of the last race, that's where Yukio got a lot of time back in JR out of the Folsom chicane, and he's doing it on this race as well.
Well, I reckon Yukio looks like another race winner.
And he looks like he's going for it now too. He's trying to look for the pass now with 3 laps to go, where last race he wasn't looking at all until the last lap, so he definitely thinks he's going faster than John, I think.
Is that also because John looks pretty smooth there at the moment? John Reynolds looks like he's in control.
The pace is much faster.
Do you think that Yukio thinks that John may have the pace to stay in front? That's why he's trying to force the issue early?
Oh,
Here we go.
Yeah,
take that. JR tries to cut back. Paul Denning, hardly a blink. He should have been a gunslinger. It is Yukio Kagayama out front then. Second place now, John Reynolds. Now that gives John Reynolds an opportunity, as we're on lap 16 of 18, I remind you, it gives JR an opportunity to try and find a way by. This is all getting a bit hectic as Yukio weaves one side then the other down the avenue. Don't quite know what all that's about, but it's not going to please JR. Let's take a look at the pass again. Classic textbook stuff. JR does it so often.
That's actually a JR pass in there, but Yuki's been watching him closely and pulled the same move on him. But you see Yuki coming out of Old Hall there, he wasn't strong, he made a bit of a mistake there, but had to cover his line down into Cascades.
Which he did, and I really do think that he kind of, well, he's rattled his sabre a bit at JR there. Certainly Yukio, of the two men, looks like the man more desperate to win today than even JR. I know we can't tell always with John Reynolds because he always looks so smooth, even when he's as angry as he is. But Yukio Kagayama, what a talent Yukio Kagayama is. I mean, I can't get over the drama this bloke has had in the last 2 years.
Well, what a human being. Apart from the talent, just what he's been through and what he's come back through and what he's doing now, just incredible. Wait till he gets fit.
Tell you what, gone are the days, aren't they, when we used to say about whether the tyres would handle the power of these Suzuki. Do you see the thing's absolutely rock solid now at full power, 132 mile an hour over Clay Hill, just nailed to the stop up and over the hill. Yeah. So impressive. The development of tyres have raised their game to meet the power of these powerful four-cylinder bikes.
Well, the good thing is, in MotoGP they've got another 50 brake horsepower, and the tyre companies are out there developing tyres for MotoGP, so this is, for some of the tyres they're building in Grand Prix series, this is a bit of a walk in the park.
A walk in the park? It's Oulton Park, and it is Yukio Kagayama that's in charge. John Reynolds seemingly with no way of coming back at Yukio at this point. We are on lap 17. It is the penultimate lap of the race. It's just a question of whether JR is taking his time, getting his breath back and lining up Yukio's best bits.
Well, John's stronger through Old Hall, which is turn one here at Oulton Park. And I'm sure he's determined. I'm sure he'll want to repay the compliment that Yuki paid to him in race one, but not quite close enough. This section from here to out the Fulton chicane, Yukio Kagayama is very strong.
And that lap that Yukio got past, actually John did a 38 flat, so he did just back it off half a second, so maybe he is going to look for that last lap, do or die.
Yukio Kagayama over hilltop, dropping down into his lops.
I think you're right about Rutter. He's 9 seconds behind.
Yeah, I think his tyre's gone completely. I think he's shot it to bits.
It looks like he used a soft tyre and it's all over now.
Over Clay Hill. Yukio now getting the thing just on the move, a fraction. John Reynolds, still the smoother of the two, but he has been throughout the two rows. Oh, take that, Yukio. Caning the rear end of that tyre. So, that'll give John a bit of heart. Not, maybe.
Oh, for sure, that's all you want to see on the last lap. You know his tyre's shot, and you know you've got a bit in hand, and you know, going into this last lap, old John will be thinking of a few passing manoeuvres here.
John is stronger through here. He gets a good run out here on Yuki. There's a back marker in the way. You can see John right on his tailpipe there. Back marker makes the right decision out to the left, but Yuki's strong through Cascades.
So Yukio hanging on in there as we come down through Cascades, looking down towards Island Corner now as they come out of the heat haze. This is really quick along here, back down to something like 105 miles an hour.
Yuki's
in the middle.
The pin.
Yeah, Yuki has pulled the pin as he runs up towards Shell. Right hand up. John closing in on the brakes. Now it's a squirt up towards Fulton chicane. This is critical as they come through Fulton chicane. Got to get the drive on the way out perfect.
This is what Kagayama's good at, which is unfortunate for John.
Although JR's right in his slipstream. Again, Kagayama, for some reason or another, manages to force that motorcycle, as he did at Snetterton, out onto the straight that counts. He's always managed to bang it out there so very, very quickly.
He does. JR makes a gear change in the middle of that chicane, and that costs him some time.
Might have cost him too much time. We're through Hislop chicane and a Knickerbrook up now. Clay Hill for the last time. We are on the last lap of our last race here on Sky Sports. This is round 4 of the thick British Superbike series, and what a couple of races we've had, if only because these two teammates have been taking bits out of each other all the way through it. Down towards Lodge for the last time, into the braking area. JR's definitely looking. JR's looking for the pass. JR is not able to get it. Backs it in very slightly. Yukio Kagayama holds the line, holds the race win. He gets his double race win here. It's a double for Rizla Suzuki, but it is a double race for Yukio Kagayama. What a man, what a ride. James will be so unhappy within himself, and it must be a hard feeling to have, because he'll be happy that the team is performing to the level it is and that he's given the tackle to do the job. But Kagayama just comes out on top twice today. Ecstatic scenes in pit lane. Incredible stuff. Yukio Kagayama then is our winner for race 2 here, the Think British Superbike Championship. What a series this is building to be. Coverage here from round 4 of the Think British Superbike Championship. What a superb day's racing we've had so far here. That's about it for our live coverage of racing, of course, but we've got lots of reaction to come on Yukio Kagayama's second win of the afternoon over John Reynolds, his teammate. What a race that was. Michael Rutter eventually thwarted it in his manoeuvres forward from the back row of the grid to 3rd place. He looked like he was going to challenge for a long time. Dean Thomas finished his day in 4th again. Scott Smart in 5th place. Leon Haslam. That's a good ride from Leon on the Pirelli tyres with the amount of testing he's had here, which is virtually none. Gary Mason eventually slipping down to 7th, having led for a couple of laps. James Ellison, best of the privateers, there in 8th place. 9th was Glenn Richards. Noriyuki Haga gets a